Okay, so I think we are live right now, waiting for a few attendees to join. We have about 10 already that joined. Very nice.
Cool.
I'm gonna start the actual session, maybe a minute in. I'm gonna give some time for people to join. All right. But how are you doing today?
Good. Actually nothing special. I'm just, bored.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
What about me? So I've been doing this kind of online webinar thing throughout this whole week. So it didn't really feel like a golden week, but it's really exciting to be able to kind of meet and interact with so many people through these online media is something that we've never really tried. So it's actually really interesting, and I do see a lot of new possibilities because of this situation that we're kind of like work around. So it's been interesting. It's a good learning process. Right.
Yeah. Sounds cool.
Sounds good. Okay. So how do you usually spend your weekends? Do you have anything coming up this weekend?
Well, for me, there are no, it's like a kind of weekend. Every day is like a weekend, but every day is feel like, just a normal day. So the boundaries of the holidays and, ordinary day vanished for me.
Well, I guess that doesn't really matter, right? For you, even if it was under Corona or not, it's kind of the life of an entrepreneur, basically.
No. For me, that style of working slightly, changed because, everybody can't meet offline. So, but, my main role for this company is decision making. So I just do what I have to do.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, so we're about 2 minutes into our webinar now, going live, and I think we can actually get started. We have about a little more than 30 people joining, and hopefully more can join soon. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us today for our Global Skill Up Week with SPARKDOJO. This is our day 5, our last day, and we are welcoming Yuki Kanayama here from ZOZO Technologies to join our leadership interview today. And just a quick introduction of myself. My name is Alex Nomura, and I'm the COO of SPARKDOJO. And I've been working with many startups, including ZOZO Technologies and other startups, really help them globalize and help their leadership really become global individuals. So I'm very happy to have you here, Yuki. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So this is a really exciting session where I think we can really try to get to know you as an individual, as a leader, as a father, right? And I think many people are curious, how do leaders spend their time under this situation? Have there been big differences in their companies, their personal lives, right? What kind of things can they learn from you to make maybe life better under these situations? So I do have many questions here today, but overall, I want to kind of learn something more positive, something that we can take action towards. So let's see if we can find anything through our interview today.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good. Okay. So for our guests today, I just want to make sure to get the guidelines out, but I want to make this as interactive as possible. I want to give you the opportunity to ask Yuki questions that you are very curious about. So first of all, I want to test if we can be interactive. So through your chat box, I think there's a raise your hand box, right? So I just want to make sure everyone is following through. If you can see that raise your hand, please raise your hand with us. Participants, who's following? Who's here? Okay, great. We have good interaction here. All right. So
hey,
I may
Alex,
be asking, yes.
Hey, can I see the, that Q&A, the screen or not?
Yes, as a moderator, I think at the bottom, you see participants?
No.
You don't see participants?
Nope. I don't know why.
Okay.
But it's okay.
All right, so I guess I'll be reading. So next, we have a chat box, okay? So here, we might be asking some of you some questions or maybe ideas. So if we have anything here, I'll be asking you to chat here. But for now, as practice, can you guys say hi in the chat box? Say hi if you're listening. Hi if you're excited to join. Hi. Hi, Yoko. Hi, Iwanaga-san. You got it? Hi, Hiroyuki.
Yeah.
Hi, Yusuke. Hi, C. Hi, Ishida. Hi, Tomo. Hi, Leo. Hi, Lisa. All right. Sounds good. Okay, we have an interactive group. And lastly, we do have a QA box, right? And if you have any questions throughout this seminar or throughout this webinar, please feel free to ask questions anytime. I'll try to pick them up as we go through our webinar, and I'll try to pick up interesting ones. So really think and ask interesting questions. I'd like to have us answer all of your questions. So please be interactive, okay? Sounds good. So first of all, I want to start off by trying to get to know who you are, Yuki, right? So for a lot of our guests today, it might be the first time to actually get to know you, who you are, and what's not. So just as a quick introduction, Yuki Kanayama here is the Chief Innovation Officer of ZOZO Technologies, right? But I think a lot of us are questioning, so what is a Chief Innovation Officer to begin with? So Yuki, why don't you start by kind of telling us what ZOZO Technology is and what your role in the companies are?
Okay, ZOZO Technologies is a subsidiary of ZOZO. ZOZO is one of the biggest fashion shopping sites in here, and we ZOZO Technologies in charge of developing the software for ZOZO, all of ZOZOs. So we have over 300 members, and over half of them are engineers, software developer, and designer. So basically, our role is to develop software for ZOZO. So for me, I'm in charge of the innovation. Innovation, basically, for me, for this company, innovation means two meanings. One is to create a new business, and the second is the changing the company's culture or employees' behavior. So this is innovation. Innovation, yeah. As a Chief Innovation Officer, I lead that staff to kind of things to the forward. Keep pushing to make something new, do something try something new or something like that.
I see. Very interesting. So I think this Chief Innovation Officer, this role is not some role that every company has, right? I think it's a very unique kind of a recent position that opened up due to kind of technological advances happening across the industry. But I'm very curious, Yuki, how did you end up becoming or taking on this role of Chief Innovation Officer? Could you tell me a little bit about your kind of past experience, how you met Maeda-san, and how you ended up Chief Innovation Officer?
Okay, that is great question. Well, before I joined ZOZO, I had run my own startup, and that startup was acquired by ZOZO in 2018 or 17, or I think 2018. ZOZO acquired our startup. Then how do I say? Then it's wrong story.
Okay.
But too wrong story. It's too wrong.
Okay.
So Chief Innovation Officer is how do I explain?
So why don't you tell me about, so first of all, how did you meet Maezawa-san? And what did he expect you to do with ZOZO?
5 or no. It was 2014 or 2013. ZOZO is the biggest client. So, Mr. Maezawa-san, asked me to join ZOZO group at that time. Yeah, he is kind of, very straightforward person. But, I refused him.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, twice. 2014 and 2016 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. But eventually, I decided to, join ZOZO group because, because they had a ZOZO suit. Before ZOZO suits, I think we can, beat ZOZO group eventually. But when I saw the ZOZO suits, oh shit, they did a great work. I thought it was not a good idea to compete with them with ZOZO suits. So it's kind of I surrendered to ZOZO suits and ZOZO group. It's kind of
I see. That's a very interesting story. So as a, let's say, business partners, but maybe potential competitors, you were always kind of thinking about ZOZO, right? How to co-work or maybe survive together in the industry. But when the ZOZO suit idea came out, you were like, oh my God, there's no way I can beat this. This is a revolutionary idea, and I need to figure out how to be on the same side as Maezawa-san. So that's basically your story.
Yes, thank you.
That's really interesting. So I remember when the first ZOZO suit came out and the actual ZOZO suit came out, it was a little bit different, right? And I remember you telling me in the past that you were a little bit involved in the kind of development of the ZOZO suit, actually taking out into the market. How did you play a role in this kind of launching ZOZO suit?
Actually, I just check the quality of ZOZO suits. So I don't I don't develop or I don't design for ZOZO suits. I just check the quality. So basically every ZOZO decision was did by Maezawa-san.
Oh, I see.
So I was like a advisor or something like that for ZOZO suits. I checked the how accuracy it was, or how comfortable when you wear those suits. So I just check the quality.
I see. So my last question about getting to know you and ZOZO Technologies, is there any kind of new maybe ideas that came out recently or something that we should know about ZOZO Technology? What kind of new projects are you working on?
I can't say now, but now we are developing something new for fashion, especially especially I am trying to new user experience of try on. Most of people do try on before buy clothes.
Yes.
But Alex, do you like try on?
Yes, definitely. When I buy things online, usually I go to the store first to try things on, and then I make my final decisions online.
Yeah. But trying on, for me, I think trying on is such an annoying user experience. I don't like trying on.
I see.
But I have to try on because I don't want to lose my money, and I don't want to buy things doesn't fit me. But try on, imagine if you can buy clothes without try on, is that a cool?
Yeah, that would be cool. Really easy. Yeah, I agree.
So our challenge is disrupt the try on experience, user experience.
I see. Right.
So now we are tackling that issues.
Okay.
Using
Thank
technology.
You very much. That's really exciting as we do more shopping online through e-commerce. I think these experiences are very, very important to make it much easier, better, right? And avoid kind of the miscommunication that happens, because I think the most annoying thing or the biggest fear about buying clothes online is what if you don't like it, or what if the size doesn't fit? I think that's the biggest hurdle. So I think ZOZO Technologies is really tackling this issue to make revolutionary ideas to the user experience of e-commerce. That's great.
Exactly.
All right, thank you. So I think I should get into the main topic of today. How are we working towards, or how are we working with Corona, and how is our kind of working style going to change through the future? So first of all, Yuki, how has this is a very general question, how has this overall kind of COVID situation changed you and your organization, right? How they operate? Has it been a positive thing, negative impact, no change? Overall, how has it been?
Okay, basically, my work style is not changed during this situation, but my lifestyle changed so big. I have to take care of my 3 kids. So I have to teach them, for example, math or Japanese or English or sometimes programming. In Tokyo, every school was shut it down, right? So I have to take care of my kids during daytime.
I see. So I think parenting is a big issue now for every right parent working here. How many parents do we have in our kind of audience today? Who's kind of gone through something similar, right? Parenting, is this a big issue now? Anyone? And the attendees? Yep, we have a few hands. Yeah. So I'm going to get into your personal life a little bit later, but please let me ask a few more of how things have changed or not changed in your work kind of style and working environment. So I know that ZOZO Technologies is a very kind of advanced, let's say, technology company, a lot of engineers you mentioned. Do you think kind of working from home, right, under lockdown has impacted kind of productivity or work kind of efficiency, or has that have very limited effects, do you think?
I think, definitely, this situation is bad for us, especially the speed of everything is getting slow. So this is decreasing the speed and slowing the speed matters. For our industries, speed matters. Speed is everything. To survive the business, it is important that how many trial and error can we do as the matters. But under this down situation, I feel everything getting slow.
I see. So you think that everything's getting slow because, again, is communication more difficult through kind of online? Is it always easier to do it face to face? What would be your kind of ideal situation? So for example, after the lockdown is kind of lifted, right? No more lockdown. Do you think people would just go back into their original working styles, or would there be something different, do you think?
I think, it's a good question. So the 2 hours before, we were talked about that, issue with, ZOZO Technologies board member. But at this moment, we have not decided about the, how should we work after the, coronavirus? Should we go back like, regularly, or should we keep this, online based, working style? We have not decided yet, but that's completely my, my own point of view. This, coronavirus is kind of inevitable things. So I don't think every, businessman return the office regularly.
I see.
So somehow we need to, change our work style and our mindset as well.
I see. Interesting. Yes, I definitely agree that it's not going to be completely the same, right? It would probably be hybrids. It would definitely depend on what kind of industry and what kind of role you have. I definitely agree. I have a question here from one of our audiences, from Reen. So how does Yuki, or how do you see the post-COVID era and potential new business market trends, right? And with this in mind, what kind of skills or new knowledge do you recommend professionals should prioritize, learn, and acquire? That's a big question.
Yeah, it's a tough question. Learn or do what you want. Do or learn what you like, or what you can, have passionate about it.
So Yuki, what are you passionate about, and what have you kind of learned in the past?
English, learning English.
Interesting. But why do you, honestly speaking, why do you think this is so important?
Because, under this situation, we can technically reach out everybody online, right? So for me, this is a big chance to, get contact with the, people who live outside of Japan. Hey, for example, I can say, hey, what's up? What are you doing? To the, foreign friend or foreign business partner, or, somebody I want to reach out. So, yeah. So I think it's a big opportunity to reach out, technically everybody.
I see.
Via online.
Yeah, I think this is a very common thing that I've heard from all the other leadership interviews as well. That communication skills and being able to communicate with different people effectively is something that will never get old, right? And is something that we should all definitely keep on brushing up, right? And especially, I believe, as, let's say, a technology company, because there's such a shortage of engineers right now, it's really very difficult. We've been talking about this, Yuki, right? To source actual very capable engineers just from the domestic market. And therefore, we are always looking outside of the domestic market to recruit, right, engineers from overseas markets. And to be able to work with these people, right, we need a common language, and that just happens to be English, is I think the case. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. We have another question from Sayuri here. So let me read this out. as a leader, is there anything that you try not to do when you make a decision? Is there anything you try not to do when you make a decision?
One thing I try not to do is postpone everything. You know, I told you that speed matters. So I try not to postpone anything.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So usually in your meetings at ZOZO, do you always come up with an answer generally, or an action plan? Is that generally a rule or culture there?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think that's very, very important. I think a lot of times in Japanese meetings, we do a meeting, but when we end the meeting, sometimes we don't know what we need to do, what was the final decision, right? And sometimes we're not even sure why we're joining. So I think that's a very important point. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a few more questions about kind of work and kind of how the Corona age differs. And I think this is a conversation we were also having in the past. We were saying, because of kind of when we're working online, I think this is more about an issue about kind of micromanagement versus kind of having a very free kind of working style. And I think a lot of leaders in Japan are having this issue, right? Because they are always worried about how their employees are performing, working, and whatnot. But how has the style been at ZOZO recently?
You know, to tell you the truth, you know, generally ZOZO's style and my style is totally different.
Interesting. Please tell us more.
The ZOZO style is very, very, very heartwarming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very Japanese, you know, classical way of work style. But, you know, my style is more advanced.
Advanced?
Yeah.
What do you mean by advanced?
You know, I am very straightforward to the result. I don't care the process, or I don't care about the, you know, atmosphere or kind of things. So for me, the important thing is that, you know, the result and schedule.
I see.
So yeah. So your question is, what is, you know, ZOZO style? So my answer is, actually, I don't know well how ZOZO, you know, generally works, because, you know, my division is very, very special. No, how do I say? Very individual.
I see. So it's a very autonomous, right? Very individualistic kind of team, or a smaller team that you work with.
Yeah, and we are working like a, you know, startup.
I see. So ZOZO Technologies has about a few hundred people, if I'm correct.
300.
Yes.
Yeah.
But within ZOZO Technologies, you are working in a much smaller team. Is that correct?
Right.
I see. Is this more about the ZOZO research? Are you working with, or is that a separate team?
No, actually, you know, I'm out, you know, I'm leaving ZOZO research. You know, I'm a founder of ZOZO research, but, you know, I'm not interested in the kind of, you know, research things. Yeah, they are very, very smart and they are very good. But, you know, for me, I feel a bit far away from the business. The research is sometimes some research just for research, not for the business. So I am an entrepreneur, I'm not a researcher. So half years ago, I decided to leaving, you know, ZOZO research. But, you know, ZOZO research is still, you know, still there.
Interesting.
They are right. Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to your kind of point about you value that final result, right? Value adding. What kind of value did you add is a very important kind of measure for you when you kind of choose your team member, kind of your kind of general core value as your team. I'm wondering, so for a lot of professionals that work right in Japan, in just general companies, maybe startups, maybe big companies, small size companies, how do you kind of measure kind of the results, or how do you really motivate people to take over that kind of working style? I don't think it's very common for Japanese people.
Yeah, it's great question. That value can measured by the revenue. We pay only the variable stuff. For example, I made some bad cup, bad horrible and disgusting cup of coffee. Alex, do you want to buy or do you want to pay for it? No, because this disgusting cup of coffee has no values. So our result or value can quantize by revenue. The people pay only variable stuffs.
I see.
So
I see.
This is how we measure that value.
Okay. So I think because of this Corona situations, many businesses are going through very tough times. I agree. Right? Do you agree? And many companies really need to reduce their cost. And I think a big part of companies' costs comes back to kind of HR cost, right? Human resource cost. And I kind of want to tie this into how you were talking about, right? People really need to be evaluated based on how much value they create. And I generally agree on that point. But as a leader, how do you think, right, leaders can implement this kind of ideas, right, post-COVID, right, to really motivate employees to kind of take on this, or how do you implement this into a company?
I always say, during this, situation, the way of work or how to do something is completely, changed and changed forever. But, our goal is, our kind of raison d'etre has not changed. So, yeah, I always say, do what you have to do. Our goal is not changed. Doesn't change.
I see. And I think as a leader, I think what you need to do is always you show by, right, your kind of example, right? You lead by example and you kind of follow your kind of result orientedness. And then I think your other employees will follow. Okay, that's interesting. I have a few questions from the audience. This is from Yusuke. Since the beginning of April, a lot of department stores have been closing.
Yes.
Do you think people will come back to the department stores as the same before as COVID? Or will there be big changes, do you think?
I don't think people will return because, some people understand how useful online shopping is. So basically human beings can't, deny the, useless things. So I don't think people will return before the, COVID-19.
That's really interesting. So I think a lot of times in the media, right, we talk about how companies now, because of the Corona and because of the kind of lockdown, companies were forced to move a lot of their operations and communications online. But I think through Yuki's comment here, we can also imagine a lot of our consumers now, because we are kind of buying stuff online and they've finally understood the kind of how convenient, right, this kind of lifestyle is, we're kind of generally shifting. So overall, I think this Corona has helped the overall society in Japan to kind of make a big jump right towards kind of online. And I think this could be seen in a positive way, in a sense.
Yeah, right. This situation is, for me, it's like a, global game. That game is hey, let's do digital exchange game. So if in case you lose that game, you're gonna die. That's it.
I see.
It's simple.
It is simple.
It's like a game, yeah.
So how do you think Japan overall is doing under this game?
Okay, we're gonna die.
So you don't have too much of a positive outlook on Japan? Maybe a little bit too slow? No?
No.
Okay, so what can we do? What should we do as individuals, do you think?
Great question. First of all, I would like to say enjoy this situation. I think Japanese people are too serious in every way. Too serious. Yeah, this is serious situation, but we can find something interesting thing during this situation. Life goes on, so we should enjoy even this this situation.
I see. I think that's a very, very important kind of thing you mentioned, right? How to kind of stay positive, how to enjoy our life, not get too stressed, right? Because when you're too serious, right, life is not always the best. So I think I have a question from Ken from the audience, kind of in line with this. So how do you keep your mind positively, and what do you do, or what do you want to do after the COVID situation?
Okay, what do I want to do after coronavirus? As I want to go to a music festival. I miss venues and clubs and loud music and audience. I miss that.
I see. Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the biggest things that is banned under this situation. And I think for a lot of music lovers, that's something that we all definitely miss, including myself. But how do you keep your mind? Go ahead. You had a question.
Okay. However, these days, we can enjoy the live concert in the game called Fortnite. 2 or 1 week before, US rapper, his name is Travis Scott, had a big, online music event in the game Fortnite. I joined that, event. That was amazing.
Oh, wow. Actually, I joined that too.
Yeah. Actually, the next Saturday, 10 a.m., so Steve Aoki and Deadmau5 will have a party in the, Fortnite. So you can feel that, new music experience.
Yes. So I think this is a very interesting thing, maybe from an innovator's kind of point of view, that now games, right? Online games are now a platform to deliver, I think, music. And these are kind of virtual festivals that people can join just for the audience. And I think this is very, very interesting. This is something that never has happened in the past. But Yuki, do you see any kind of hints or kind of implications or possibilities, right, from these kind of events for your business or maybe for fashion?
Oh, that's a tough question. I just, enjoy that event as a, just a normal audience. So I could not find the, key or hint for my business yet. But, there are some, hint or, some, key, in that kind of, virtual event.
Okay, interesting. So I'm going to read out another question from Sayuri again. So to make an innovation happen, right, I assume there is not much things you can reference from the past, right? But how do you learn from others and in history to make it happen? So I guess where do you get your inspiration for kind of innovation? What kind of maybe media, what kind of sources do you look? How do you make innovation happen?
This is a great question as well. How do I get the inspiration? How? Having a curiosity is, the biggest things to find, something new or trying something, weird, and eventually that makes an innovation. So have a curiosity and tinkering.
Can you say that word you said at the end?
Tinkering.
Tinkering, yes.
Yeah, tinkering. Tinkering, think everything. And just do which you think right or you want to do.
Yes.
So I would say follow your heart and do something.
Yeah. So I think there were two key messages there, which I definitely agree to. Curiosity is one, and kind of like do what you love or take action, I think is a very, very important kind of value that a lot of us should definitely consider. And I think curiosity is basically what really drives innovation. And I think we always need to be open-minded, right? Don't be kind of ruled or controlled by rules, right? Maybe sometimes you really need to break the rules to kind of break through, right? Having an open mindset, trying new things, whether it's joining a little live stream on a game or whatever it is. I think you really need to try and experience things yourself to have inspiration, and then maybe you have a breakthrough. So it's about how many kind of opportunities you took to satisfy your curiosity, how many times you took action, and then I think these end up leading to innovation. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you. But yeah, one more thing I would say, I am born this way. So I don't much care about how do I get the new innovation or how do I, know the new stuff. I am born this way.
So you're a natural kind of curious guy, and you're a natural entrepreneur.
Right.
Interesting. So in your company, how important is it to be curious? Or maybe when you recruit people to your company or hire people, what kind of things, or do you measure people's curiosity, or is that an important thing do you look for?
Okay, I have a killer question. So sometimes I ask to the people, what did you start? What did you start something new? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So what is something that you've started, right, by yourself?
Right.
What did you initiate? What did you kind of do on your own without being told anything?
Right. Curious people, always, start something, new, or trying something, some stuff. So I ask that question sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's a great question to ask. And especially in a market like Japan, I think generally people are a little bit more conservative, or people try to kind of live under a certain norm or expectation. And I think that's the safe way. But however, because of the situation changing, because of technology, right, new leaders who are very curious to kind of dare to take a new step, to try something new, has so much more value now. And I think, what's required in the market is changing very rapidly. And I think as professionals, regardless of how old we are, I think these things is going to be important. And I think we always need to be open to change, take new steps. And I think people who can lead in that way will be valued. Yeah,
we have to act fast and try as many as you can, because the world is changing faster than us. So we have to keep up with that.
I agree. I definitely agree. Okay. We have a few more questions. We have a little bit more time. If you do have any questions last minute, please send that in. Hopefully we can answer you. But now I'm going to ask, read out a question from C. Okay, so C asks, do you manage any people or do you have any bookup working as a team? If yes, how do you motivate them during this whole working from home situation?
Could you say that again? Do
you have any kind of people working under you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I have dozen people.
Okay, and how do you motivate them when they are working from home?
Okay. My secret recipe how to motivate people is hire the people who has motivate already. You know what I mean?
Yes, right. People are already self-driven people.
Yeah, it is tough to to change the people. So I hire the self-motivated people. Yeah, this is the key. Yeah, so
so if you have people who are
I can't motivate the person.
I think that's a very important point, right? Maybe for a little bit, maybe you can say something motivational. Maybe they will change for the next hour or two. But overall, in the core, I think I agree that people cannot change as much as well. And I think very similar things were mentioned in a book by Laszlo Bock, who was the kind of lead HR right at Google. Right? They say the importance of hiring the right people first. Right. Because you can't really change people as much. So yes, that's a very interesting point. I have another question from Leo. So Leo says, you mentioned that you want to get connected with people who live outside of Japan. Do you have anyone specific you want to meet now?
No. Great question. At this time, I don't have, no. The answer is no. If yes, I had already, contact. I had, called to the person already. So yeah,
that's a great answer, right? If you already were curious, you would have already contacted them. Therefore, there's no meeting in waiting, basically. Great answer. Okay, do we have any other questions at this time? We do have maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. Are we doing good? Okay. So Yuki, my last question to you.
Okay.
Or I guess this is more of a request. I think for everyone that has joined today, if you were to give them one message, right, from kind of today's session, and how they should kind of become as professionals, how to become professional, what one advice would you give them?
Okay. My advice is do what you have to do under this, situation. Your goal and my goal does not change. So we should, keep on working, keep on enjoying our life. So this is my message.
All right. Thank you very much. So overall, do what you got to do and enjoy is the message from Yuki today. All right. Well, overall today, we've talked about how Yuki, right, is kind of being the lead innovator at ZOZO. We kind of heard about his kind of ways of thinking, what kind of values he looks for in professionals. And I think there's a lot of takeaways as kind of individuals that we can learn from him to take action, to enjoy life under the situation and still be productive. So it was great having you today, Yuki. I had a great time learning about you and your kind of values, and I hope all the attendees did as well. So thank you very much for your time. And otherwise, I think we can close this session. Thank you very much, Yuki.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having time, and thank you for inviting me to such a great event.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to you soon again. All right. Thank you all for who attended, and I'll be closing this session soon.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye, folks. Bye. Enjoy.